I've permanently blocked out any WWE lore after 5th grade. I'm out.
Open your mouth, prepare your tongue, because you're about to get a taste.
I cannot believe we've gone 12 episodes without me being able to talk about Final Fantasy.
Well, I know the doll is bad, so I gotta think the Dusty Balloon is less bad.
I mean, if all life everywhere ends, what have I lost?
Facial hair as a theme is not something I ever would have chosen.
So yeah, that's the one that Rock is just sweaty the whole time.
Yeah. He's got that good Pony Jafar beard.
I've got 3 pages of AMA citations.
This is the Debate This podcast. Hello, and welcome to Debate This, a show where no one is right, but someone is definitely wrong. In this podcast, we take time out of our busy adult lives to talk about comics, video games, and whether or not Black Panther deserved the Best Picture nom. It totally did, for a whole lot of very complicated reasons that I'm not going to get into right now.
Is there an argument against that?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure somebody's mad.
Somebody's always mad, that's fair.
There's a Venn diagram of people that don't like comics and racists that probably don't want that to happen, but they aren't listening to what we have to say here.
I feel like that Venn diagram is much more of a circle than a Venn diagram. Like, I think if you're racist, you automatically don't like comic books.
That's fair.
You'd be surprised. Remember Gamergate? That happened, and that was real bad.
I mean, the fact that, like, X-Men were, like, a whole metaphor for, like, acceptance, but now if you're going to get into comic books in our current age, they're getting way more progressive, so I think the racists have stopped reading.
You would think. But
Maybe they just like Superman.
yeah. So today we're going to put on our director's caps and talk about the DC Cinematic Universe. We're going to lend our hand to this multi-billion-dollar franchise that didn't ask for it and help them recast some of their most popular characters. With me today are Matt Tim Burton Cole, Todd Joel Schumacher Thomas, and Andrew Christopher Nolan Henderson. They're going to come out of their Debate This trailers, sit in their Debate This director's chairs, and help me cast the next big stars of the DC Cinematic Universe.
I want to say thank you for giving me Tim Burton, because that is by far my favorite Batman movie. Yeah. And it gets shit on all the time, but thanks.
No. That's easily the winner. Batman Returns is absolutely the best Batman.
Hell yeah.
If I know anything about you, Matt, I knew you would appreciate being Tim Burton Cole.
You're goddamn right, I do.
Hey, Kyle, can I just, real quick, can I try a stinger real quick?
Go for it.
All right, everybody, ready, guys? It may not be the recast that they wanted, but it's the recast that they deserve.
I made that joke like 2 prompts from now. You can't steal my punchlines already with your shitty Batman references.
Ooh. I didn't even see
you know what? No, it's fine, Matt, because at some point, I'm sure all of Andrew's lore in the DC universe is going to be airtight, and we're not going to have any issues here.
Airtight.
And so we just need to let Andrew have this.
No inconsistencies.
Can we do a podcast now?
Please.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So the first big role we need to fill is one that has been unoccupied since 2011. He's one of the original 7 members of the Justice League, a paragon of will and determination, but the last actor who played him on the big screen has been cast as a talking mouse in his next motion picture. I'm, of course, talking about the Green Lantern. Since Ryan Reynolds brought the character to screen, studios have been too afraid to touch him with a 40-foot pole. So help me restore their confidence, guys. Let's cast a big up-and-coming name who's going to generate a lot of buzz for the Green Lantern reboot that we're pitching. Don't be afraid to jump in and tell the other 2 people here why their choice is bad and why their choice may or may not be worse than Ryan Reynolds in CGI spandex. Matt, take us away.
Kyle, you really wrote off the new Pokemon movie. Ryan Reynolds cast as a talking mouse. I'm super excited for Pokemon that. Harper.
Very not about your character.
I could not be more excited for Detective Pikachu, but I also really wanted to downplay Ryan Reynolds. So,
all right,
for no reason at all. I also love
just
Ryan
dunking
Reynolds.
on Ryan Reynolds in this podcast today.
Some real hot takes here.
Maybe he'll hear about how we dunked on him, and he'll want to be on the show.
I'm into that. All right, so now to recast the Green Lantern. Obviously, there is only one Green Lantern that has ever mattered to our generation, and that is Justice League animated, not Hal Jordan. Justice League animated Black Green Lantern, who then, when they were going to make a gigantic movie, they were like, let's make him a white guy, because that's what works. And so we're not going to do that. We're gonna go back. We're going to go back to the Green Lantern that we all know and love. we're going to go back to Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart, who, I don't know, is an important Green Lantern.
The Daily Show, Jon Stewart?
Not the
Yes.
Daily Show. No, this is who I guess I've learned from Wikipedia is an important Green Lantern. I don't really know. There are a lot of Green Lanterns.
What's the citation on that? Says who?
I think Jon Stewart is the second longest running after Hal Jordan.
Todd, can we get a well actually, please?
So, well, actually, I
Thanks.
think the thing that probably makes him most important is I do believe he was, if not the first, one of the first black superheroes in the DC universe. So he came after, I believe it was Hal Jordan, and then I thought Jon Stewart came next, but I think Guy Gardner came before Jon Stewart.
I think chronologically Guy Gardner came next. But yeah, I don't know if he was the first black DC hero, but he was certainly the first one to fill one of the top 7.
Anyway, he's definitely like one of the most important Green Lanterns. Keep going, Matt. I don't have reasons to argue with you yet.
Sure. Okay, so Jon Stewart, the light hammer swinging lantern of the Justice League. Now, there's only one way to save the DCCU, and that is a one-off movie of a broken hero's last hurrah before handing the power off to the new guy. Who's the Jon Stewart will force America to love before sending him off into a blaze of glory at the end of the movie, you may ask? None other than Lenny James of The Walking Dead. He plays Morgan on The Walking Dead, if you didn't know. He's really good with a stick, so I think if you gave him a ring that makes sticks, he'd be really good with those too.
Hey, did you guys know that Matt really likes The Walking Dead? Did you know that?
It's true, I
Did you
do.
really know that he likes The Walking Dead?
I do.
Because you
And
cast your entire cast of people that you pull from is 80% from The Walking
no,
Dead.
that's a lie. That's totally a lie. Anyway, Lenny James.
Don't look into it.
Don't
Don't
run
examine
the
that
numbers or
claim too.
anything.
I don't have citations, but
I'm just telling you that's fake news. Anyway, obviously, Logan was the only worthwhile X-Men movie in like the last 10 years, and that is inarguable fact. So, if the dying old guy plot works for Marvel, god damn it, it's gonna work for DC. And so we're gonna do a Lenny James as an old and last hurrah, last ride Jon Stewart, who's gonna pass the Green Lantern ring on to somebody. Who knows who yet? Probably
Trevor Noah.
Yeah, probably Trevor Noah. That's honestly not a bad idea. I would put
All
Trevor
right.
Noah in the DCCU. Yeah, no, I wanted to cast Simon Baz from the New 52, but like, who knows anything about the New 52? I certainly don't, and I assume the rest of America doesn't either.
No one knows anything about the New 52.
DC doesn't really know all that much about the New 52, and they wrote it.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna stick with the classics. We're gonna give Jon Stewart a blaze of glory, and then he's gonna hand that ring off to somebody and become the mentor for the next 7 movies in the cinematic universe that they're gonna try and strong arm down our throats.
is it a blaze of glory if they survive to be the mentor? Then it's just passing the torch.
Sticking around too long.
Blaze of glory implies
I
you
didn't
die.
get that far. All right. No, well, like he could be a Force ghost. I'm not gonna argue at that. He could be a Force ghost.
No, Disney owns that property.
Damn it.
So Todd, tell us about your Green Lantern.
Yeah, you're going old guy Jon Stewart. I'm going to go young gun Jon Stewart. So in my Green Lantern reboot, we're not going to try and save Hal Jordan. I think that the character of Hal Jordan has been overplayed and I realize he was only played once, but that once
That was
was
enough.
too many. and so now we need like a Hal Jordan who is like in the background, doing whatever Hal Jordan's doing at that point. Maybe he's grizzled and old. That seems to be the thing they're doing with Justice League characters because we're getting like the grizzled old Batman, character going on. So we're setting up the new Green Lanterns with Jon Stewart and Guy Gardner. And so for my Jon Stewart, I'm doing Jesse Williams, who is probably better known as Jackson Avery from Grey's Anatomy. I watch Grey's Anatomy fairly regularly, and I have for a couple years, and I really, really like Jackson Avery as a character. And I think that Jesse Williams could play a younger Jon Stewart, the architect. I think he was retconned to be a veteran as well. But yeah, I think that he could play this character who's a little headstrong and confident in what he's doing, Obviously, I think that Jon Stewart is played as a bulkier guy, so Jesse would have to bulk up a bit. But my movie would end up being him and Guy Gardner as kind of doing this like buddy cop. They got to get along and figure out how it's gonna go situation. And I'm also giving you the twofer here. And so for Guy Gardner, I would cast Michael Hall, who is Dexter from the show Dexter, and he is going to end up playing again, headstrong and quietly rage-filled Guy Gardner, which what I think is really neat about that, if you're familiar with Guy Gardner's story at all.
I'm not.
He is the green...
No one is.
Okay, so he's actually... No, he's pretty good.
Pretty sure you're making up names.
No. This is a good one. So, like, you're familiar with the various, like, Lantern Corps. Colors mean different things, different powers. Cool. So, Guy Gardner... Guy Gardner is... I don't know, he's obviously not the first or only, but... He is a Green Lantern who breaks bad and joins the Red Lanterns at one point.
So to clarify a little more of what Todd is saying, the Green Lanterns are one of 7 lanterns tied to an emotion. Green is tied to will.
Time.
Nope.
Red is
Red is
anger.
obviously reality. Oh wait, sorry.
So red is anger. So Guy Gardner which is like not the polar opposite, but the polar opposite of will. So like he, like Todd said, kind of disgracefully gets kicked out of the Green Lantern Corps. And
well, in the way it plays out, and I don't know how it, there's been how many reboots, but the way it plays out is Hal Jordan asks him to go undercover with the Red Lanterns and or something along those lines, and he basically like squares up with the big bad Red Lantern, and that Red Lantern's like, you can't handle the Red Lantern powers.
And he's like, try me.
Yeah, he snaps because he's crazy and he's full of rage, and he beats the shit out of like the head Red Lantern and like pulls the Red Lantern ring off of his like lifeless body and is like, yeah, who's tough now? And so that is Dexter.
So I'm gonna give it to you, man. Like Michael Hall, serial killer Dexter, as Guy Gardner sounds really good, even though I assume you're making up Guy Gardner because I've never heard of him before. That being said, I don't know if Doctor from Grey's Anatomy spells superhero to me.
Okay, I'm gonna give you one more now that you said Walking Dead earlier. I also want to cast Kyle Rayner. He's another one of the Green Lanterns. I would say he is Stephen. Is it Yeun? Is that how you pronounce his last name? Glenn?
Stephen Yeun?
Stephen Yeun. That is my Kyle Rayner if we're doing the whole Lantern Corps.
So I'm only going to count your best Green Lantern, Todd, and I'm not going to reveal who I think that is until the end.
I think it's Michael Hall, though I really like Jesse's, what's his face in here. I like Jesse Williams.
You don't even know the last name. You're an actor.
All right.
You're bad. You're bad. You lose, Todd.
Todd's done. Andrew.
All right.
I just wanted to say, I actually like the idea of bringing in the Doctor from Grey's Anatomy because then it ties the DC universe with the Shondaverse.
I'm sorry, the what?
Shonda Rhimes.
Shonda Rhimes.
Shonda Rhimes, creator of Grey's Anatomy, has created a few more TV shows, and that's all you need to know. Andrew,
I'm not going down that rabbit hole.
tell us about your Green Lantern.
Boy, do I wish that I was first because y'all are going to learn how little I know about Green Lantern. I did not see I have not seen any Green Lantern media. My extent of knowledge of Green Lantern outside of reading the wiki 2 hours ago is the 10-minute conversation that Todd had to me when we were in the car on the way to see Doctor Strange. I remember Sinestro and I remembered Hal Jordan. So buckle up. Here we go.
Oh, boy.
We've got Idris Elba because I picked a low hanging fruit. Actually, so Matt and I kind of went in a very similar direction of playing like an older Green Lantern. So I've got Idris Elba as Hal Jordan because I did not know there were other Green Lanterns. So that's something I learned today.
At least your heart was in the right place.
True.
It certainly was. So again, like I started reading the wiki and it just was like words spilling out of my eyes. So I just decided to say I saw Alien a lot, and like I know like a DC thing is like everyone's just an alien, and it is what it is. So I thought it would be cool to put him in a different time period. So I was thinking like kind of like Mass Effect, or if any of you've seen Cowboy Bebop, like the world. Yeah, Matt's not shaking his head. So the premise is like humanity has been put on the global scale, right? So like in Marvel, and I assume in the DC universe, like they know that there are aliens out there, but only like a few people know that, and they're not like they're not one of the like the premier, I guess, quote unquote civilizations. So in this world, humanity has now been elevated to just like another race in the galaxy. And as a result of that, like fast and like travel is a thing. Like you can just go to other planets. And in Mass Effect and Cowboy Bebop and those kinds of like sci-fi, the story always turns into like humanity is A, like the new kids on the block that nobody trusts, but B, Earth is almost always abandoned. So like you have a situation where anyone that can afford to leave leaves. So it just leaves like just impoverished people, thieves, like just anyone that can't afford to leave the planet is stuck on Earth. So everyone there, good.
Are we still talking about the Green Lantern?
Yeah, I really kind of lost it, but keep going.
I mean, barely.
Honestly, what I know of the Green Lantern series, everything you've said is like relatively on point for how the
Cool.
Green Lantern Corps feels about Earth. So
Fair enough. So I'm thinking like I have created this situation where you've got the Green Lantern Corps. They're kind of like the Jedi Council on Coruscant, or not on Coruscant. Yeah, on Coruscant in the prequels, in the Star Wars prequels, where they're this like overarching government, and Hal Jordan is your main character. He's like living at whatever the headquarter planet is, and something.
The headquarter planet.
Yeah, I didn't think of names. All right, fuck you guys.
it's Oa, actually.
Yeah.
Okay,
Go
sure.
on.
It's a
Oh,
living
great.
planet. It's fine.
Who
Keep
cares?
going.
Planet who the hell cares?
Wait, I saw that movie. That's Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell is the living planet.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a different living planet, but that's not important right now.
Hal Jordan lives on top of Kurt Russell, and it's totally cool and makes sense. Because he's famous as like humanity's Green Lantern or whatever, and I think the way that we open the movie is something happens where this like fundamentalist group attacks some public infrastructure on Oa, and it's all humans, and it starts this like racist thing undertone into effect where people are like, oh, humans have to go, and the humans are like, we're the elite race or whatever. So relations between the two become really bad. Other stuff happens, more filler. Hal Jordan goes down to Earth to answer a call, not literally, but like a distress call,
Not literally.
which places him away from the scene from Oa and away from the core, the rest of the core. The rest of the core is attacked by Sinestro because that is the one villain that I know from the Green Lantern universe, and the Sinestro Corps. So the Sinestro Corps does things and kill people, and Hal Jordan is away from the people on Earth, and he encounters Simon Baz, which is apparently another Green Lantern guy. Simon Baz is going to be Rami Malek, because of course he is.
Because we have to bring in Rami Malek.
Because we haven't talked about Rami Malek for a week, and we're getting the shakes.
Because we are running a campaign to get his attention.
Yeah.
So long story short, Idris Elba is our like veteran Green Lantern training Rami Malek to be the new Green Lantern.
2-part question. Both parts of the question are reasons why you're wrong.
He's gonna have answers, I promise you.
Question 1, how do you plan to convince the world that Idris Elba is now Hal Jordan and not Heimdall from a significantly more successful cinematic universe?
Valid.
Matt, that's a great question. My answer to that is I didn't know that Hal Jordan was not the only Green Lantern. I guarantee that most people do not know that. So we just won't tell people that there's a DC Universe wiki, and we'll be good.
Wait, say what you just said again.
Yeah, wait, I don't-
Because I think you're super wrong.
He didn't understand the question. So Idris Elba plays Heimdall, the blind guy in the Thor movies as well. And Matt wants to know how you're going to convince main America, the masses, if you would, that those are two different people and they're not just like completely lost.
Kyle, thanks for
Gotcha.
translating my English to English.
You're welcome.
Gotcha. Here's what happens. So at one point when he's on Earth, because reasons, we're gonna see some TV, like some camera footage of Heimdall getting killed.
Oh.
It'll just be from Avengers: Infinity War.
Okay, so all of that garbage aside,
Just really phoning this one in, huh?
Check.
part 2, it's looking pretty good for Idris Elba to be the next James Bond, which, like, thank God, yes, please.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Oh man, really?
okay, how are you gonna convince Idris Elba to be Hal Jordan and not James Bond?
Andrew, can I field this one for you?
Yeah. I mean, my answer is money, but you can answer it.
Why don't we give James Bond a Green Lantern ring and just kill two birds with one stone?
Ooh, I like that answer.
Probably a better
Fair.
movie than whatever Andrew put together.
I agree.
I think so. So moving on from the hot mess that Andrew just served up. We need to cast our next big star, and it's a doozy. So we also currently find ourselves without a Man of Steel. We have no Superman in the DC CU right now because Henry Cavill has left to do the Netflix Witcher series. Pause for Andrew.
I wasn't gonna say anything. I was gonna let this one go.
Pause for Andrew.
We'll do another lecture series on The Witcher.
Okay, so we can't stop making Superman movies because they make jillions of dollars, but we don't have a star. So who is worthy to wear the cape? What will they bring that Henry Cavill or Brandon Routh or any of the other suggestions that come up? What do they have that they don't? Matt, take it away.
Okay, I need to put this out here that I hate Superman as a character.
Same.
I really
Wait, you guys too? Did we just become
100%
best
same.
friends?
Yeah.
So I'm the only one here who likes Superman? Good.
Yes.
Good
Yes, you
start.
are.
My favorite part about Superman is that Dean Cain hosted Ripley's Believe It or Not for 10 years. That being said,
My favorite part about Superman is also Dean Cain.
yes, exactly. So that being said, I spent some time on the Googs today finding, I don't know, what I think I searched for was young, muscular, white actors, because that's what Superman is to me. And what I came up with was Alden Ehrenreich. Do you know who Alden Ehrenreich is? Probably not. Did you see that
I do.
garbage Han Solo origin movie?
He's Han Solo.
Yeah.
Did you see the Han Solo movie? Because it wasn't garbage.
I would
It
not
was
call
fine.
it garbage.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
we're talking about DC Universe movies. You can't really.
That's true.
call
All
it
right.
garbage.
Yes, let me take back my last statement. In scale, it was not garbage compared to what we're talking about.
It's a solid 6.5, I think.
Ooh, I don't know that I would go above 5.
Ooh, okay.
Netflix fodder. Netflix fodder.
Yeah, okay, so anyway, Solo, whether you call it garbage or not, I think we can all agree was kind of a wet towel. It was pretty much a wet towel, and it had writing more lackluster than the Star Wars Christmas special. But if we're being honest, the acting in that movie was pretty good.
A lot of things being said.
What? Huh? Have you not seen
Keep
the
going.
Star Wars Christmas special?
I haven't. It's amazing.
Okay. So the acting in the Solo movie, I thought, was the best part of that movie. And we've roped them in emotionally with a fading Green Lantern, and now it's time to rebuild our Young Justice League from the ground up. We've got to give the people someone to love, and boy, does this kid have the jawline to be Superman. That being said, we are going to CGI out his belly button, because damn it, I wanted it to be Tom Welling, but he's just not the hero we need. That's a Smallville reference, the second best part of Superman.
I'm
Yep.
into it. Agreed.
Yeah. I really like Smallville. It was probably the best Superman adaptation that didn't have Dean Cain in it.
We need to do something Smallville sometime. That was such a good show.
Great show. Awesome show. Everything that Gotham wasn't was Smallville.
Yep.
All right, Todd. Who are you bringing to the table to be Superman?
So mine is not going to be any fantastic surprise, but I think it's still a solid casting choice. So I'm going with Armie Hammer. And namely...
The Winklevoss twins.
Huh? Yeah, oh yeah. Namely because of his jaw, I think. His jawline says Superman. And I think that, I did some searching as well, and it's really hard to find someone who is a good, solid choice, I think, outside of the obvious casting call. Like I feel like I'm at the beginning of a Law & Order SVU episode, and they've got a lineup, and they all look like they're the same person.
Yeah.
They're all Armie Hammer.
There's a very particular style, a very particular image when you think of Superman.
Yeah.
I think of all the almost too handsome white actors, Armie Hammer is the one the rest stem from. Armie Hammer is
Yeah.
He is the Mew. He is the source of all good-looking male actors.
he is just too good looking, too white to almost to a fault that no one knows who he is.
We're gonna find out later that he was built in a factory. He was he was the first wave of just genetic, big genetic testing or something.
Yes. Yes.
And and I think so I don't know what Armie Hammer is doing nowadays. Probably nothing. What's the last movie he was in?
He was
Ruth Bader
RBG's
Ginsburg's husband.
Yeah, RBG's husband.
Oh, shoot. Okay, well, then this is definitely a downward step in his career because once you are married to Ruth Bader Ginsburg, there's no going up from there.
This is the movie that you have to do to get the next
You know what?
independent movie.
Time out. I want to cast Ruth Bader Ginsburg as my Superman because
Everyone.
Yes, that's it.
DCU.
she is the hero, not the hero we deserve, but the hero that we need. So, but anyway, as far as Armie Hammer goes, my casting is for a younger Superman. I want a Superman that actually gets to play anchor towards the Justice League, in this like noble yet untested attitude that he gets to play. He gets to be the hero, and I think that is just a good, solid choice. To go back to what some of the things you said, Matt, I did not hate the Solo movie, and I watched it on Netflix, and I would agree some of the writing was not great. It was the best movie that I've seen Woody Harrelson in the past 6 months, and so that was cool.
I mean, 6 months is a short time span for Woody Harrelson movies.
I've only seen him in 2 movies. The other one was Venom, so.
Well, I didn't see Venom, so.
But no, I liked Alden, however you pronounce his last name. I think that was a pretty good one. Yeah.
But since I said jawline and you said jawline, does that mean that we get to have like a crimson chin, nega chin, like jawline mandible fight off?
Oh, you guys guessed the super secret bonus question.
If we're gonna go that way, I want to change my answer again and say that Robert Mueller is my Superman because his jaw is the one jaw to rule them all.
Because he is your everything.
Andrew.
Yeah, I just want to double back. Matt made a point that I want to make sure we capitalize on the CGIing out a belly button. And it made me think, what's Kyle XY doing these days? Can we get him?
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a reference.
That's a pull, right?
That's a reference that 3 of our listeners might get.
Good pull, Andrew.
Somebody, can we get the IMDb wizards on that one? Okay, so I too do not like Superman. I don't like most of the stories because I just find him boring. Like even as a kid, it was always like Batman v Superman, Batman every time because he's more exciting. So there is one storyline that I do like a lot, and it's the Injustice arc, which is I actually thought it was originally a comic book, but it wasn't. It was a game first, and it was just like kind of a shitty fighting game that came out 6 years ago, and they needed a reason to pit DC characters against each other, so they made this incredible backstory where basically the Joker tricked Superman into killing a pregnant Lois Lane and like somehow nuclear bombing the entirety of Metropolis, which is like, holy shit, that's metal. But then they take it a step further. 5 years in the future, Superman's basically lost his moral compass, and now he's like this like dictator tyrant who's like not necessarily like pure evil, but has basically taken it upon himself to enforce everything, like enforce all laws and eradicate crime. Which, like, you know how that goes.
That's one of the best story arcs from the Justice League cartoon, where they like go to an alternate universe and
they do that there too.
They meet this like tyrannical Superman who,
yeah,
like similarly his moral compass shatters for some reason. He's like, screw it, you guys can't handle this. I'm taking over, and like totalitarian dictator, but for this like utopia world.
Well, and you brought this up earlier, I think, before we started recording. There's an arc too where it's like, what if Superman landed in communist Russia instead of America? Because like, his personality comes from America, comes from his parents, so the Kents. So like, I think that's a really interesting idea. Like, what do you do when the person that can do everything is not on your side? Like, that's really interesting to me. So I tried to think of like, okay, well, what if Superman was a villain, and like, how can we portray that, but while having some like still portraying some decency? Like you want to feel empathetic toward him. I think of what I still find is one of the best villains in recent years, which is Vincent D'Onofrio in the Daredevil series as Kingpin.
True.
Because I remember because there's just some scenes where he's just breaking down, and like he is just so passionate, and like he's insane, he's fucking crazy. But like you're just listening to every word he says, and I think Vincent D'Onofrio is always really good at that. So I think it'd be interesting to see him as like an aging Superman, completely racked with guilt, blinded by vengeance, like, kind of like commanding this army of like robots and double agents trying to like seek out, like basically stop crime before it happens, which is again like super dystopian as fuck.
That is the plot of Civil War 2 in Marvel.
Well,
we're just getting our hands in all kinds of cross stories.
I still get points for making it up because I did not know that there was a Civil War 2. So
I want to see you convince a 61-year-old Vincent D'Onofrio that he's got to get into Superman shape for a movie.
But that's the thing. Like, I think because he's a tyrant, like he doesn't have to do anything himself. So you've got like and here's a reference that no one's gonna understand. You've got a Kefka at the end of Final Fantasy VI where he's just sitting in his tower blowing up shit with lasers. Like, so he can have a pork belly. He can be like a little overweight, and it's fine.
Andrew, do you have like a weird sponsorship going on where every time you say Final Fantasy, you get a quarter? Because you have to tell us.
Yeah, that's true. Full disclosure, you got to tell us.
Hashtag not an ad, but could be an ad.
So a couple thing, other thing about that too is I think you're really missing the mark that he doesn't have to get like super trim fit. He needs dad strength fit. Like,
yeah.
He needs the kind of fit where he's like, you joke and say someone's shaped like a triangle because they're so up top strong. He is just muscle from like mid stomach up.
Skips leg day.
Yeah, he's like, I never stopped playing football.
Yeah.
Strong. Like I also never stopped eating strong.
If we're trying to save the DCCU, I don't know that
This is not it.
Dorito dad bod, overweight, out of shape,
You don't think
Superman
you don't
is
think
gonna
chubby
do it.
Superman's gonna do
You
it?
don't like armchair communist Superman? I don't know what's not to like about armchair Superman.
So here's a subsequent pitch for you guys. So I
Okay.
haven't told you
the
how
first
it
one
ends
went
yet.
really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pitch 1.5. So the game ends with the premise of the game is like Batman pulls in heroes from other universes. I think they would be more interesting to see. So instead of like be Batman versus Superman, because we've already seen that a million times, I want Batman to pull in a different Superman. So it's Timothy Olyphant, who, if you remember, you guys remember, like he did like a brief stint in The Office, but he's done a bunch of like rom-coms and shit. But he's like super. He's like
that's a
super
good one.
buff.
That's a good
I'm
one.
I'm gonna score you for casting Timothy Olyphant as Superman, because that is way better a choice.
It is way
so
better a
good.
choice. Oh man.
But guys, Timothy Olyphant versus Vincent D'Onofrio is like a slovenly like
That's
evil
not a good
Superman versus like Timothy Olyphant like super dad.
So I want to say some things.
Go ahead.
And one, I think your ideas are bad. Two, you had asked me what the cast of Kyle XY is doing, and I want to give a report.
Oh, please.
It's nothing. It's nothing.
Matt Dallas, aka Kyle, he married a singer in 2015. They have an adopted son named Crow, and now they're YouTubers. But beyond that, this is in 2016. He had 3 films slated for 2016 release, including Tell Me Your Name, which he also produced, which is like actually kind of cool. But more importantly, when you said, I wonder what so-and-so is doing nowadays, all I could think is, I wonder what American Gladiators are doing nowadays.
Oh, no.
And so,
Wait, no, I have the answer. Wait, hold on. Stop. I can tell you, because when I was in high school, one of my science teachers was an American Gladiator.
shut the fuck up.
I'm 100% serious.
Which one was it?
Was he Blade or Laser?
No, her name was Sky. She was a woman and she was terrifying, and I lifted with her once and I would never do it again. But I swear to God, my, I think, 8th grade science teacher, 7th or 8th grade science teacher was an American Gladiator.
That's amazing.
Well, and so that's really funny because, like, I'm looking on this thinking I'm going to see all these really out of weight, formerly fit people. I went through the first 2, which are Nitro and Laser, and they're both, like, still being healthy, still doing health things, like leading happy lives as they're in their, 50s.
So not to divert this tangent even further, but that's probably because the people go on American Gladiator because they're already in shape and like working out.
yeah, I mean they're
Not-
like bodybuilders and shit.
Yeah.
They're not just like reality show contestants.
Yeah.
That's fair. Okay, so to put a bookend on it, Andrew, your ideas are bad.
Good. Glad we took that
Great.
long, weird tangent. So we're gonna cast our last movie, guys. And one of the big complaints we get that comic books and comic book movies get a lot is that they're kind of a boys' club, and that there are no female-led comic book movies. If you take out Wonder Woman and the upcoming Captain Marvel, but those, were the last 2 years. So
It took a long time to get there.
a
it
really
did.
long time.
Something Black Widow movie, something.
Aside from the Halle Berry Catwoman movie, which had an incredible basketball break.
It did.
So as bad as all of Andrew's ideas have been,
was
that
the
one
worst.
was worse. So we're gonna
I'll take
throw the ladies a bone and release a big summer blockbuster, full budget action superhero movie with a female lead. So what hero should the movie focus on, and who are you casting to play them? Matt.
Okay, so honestly, this was really tough because, like, I didn't know that there were many DC women characters, and most of them are written awful, terrible. Just
Super bad.
it's
Super
just,
bad. DC has a terrible track record with female characters.
Yeah, it's all just either make them a supervillain or take a male hero, slap some titties on him, and put him in a skimpy outfit and call them whatever girl or whatever woman.
Yeah,
And
it's right.
It's bad. It's really bad. So I did some Googling and I landed on this superhero, sometimes villain, named Big Barda.
Tell him
Which
Big Barda
sounds
sent
so
you.
bad.
It does. It sounds terrible.
Again, DC's got a terrible track record with women characters. Big Barda is a pretty decent one,
Yeah.
but still is like a character named Big Barda. Like, that's
Yeah.
awful.
So, okay, Big Barda's pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. Big Barda is kind of like and I'm gonna make a Marvel reference, so it's something that the rest of America understands.
Thank you.
Something like Okoye to Black Panther. Big
Yeah.
Barda is the Okoye to Darkseid. Now, Darkseid is like Thanos on steroids and just Goku'd the whole goddamn way up there. Like,
What?
when I did research
What
on
does that
Darkseid,
mean?
okay, so like, Superman is boring because nothing can beat Superman except for Kryptonite. Goku is boring because no one can beat Goku except for, I don't know, fucking Superman.
Food, except for Koku being hungry.
Yeah. Darkseid is literally, there is nothing stops Darkseid. Darkseid is everything. Darkseid is the world around us. Darkseid is his own digital sentient universe. Like, holy
Wow.
shit.
That was 3 of the 7 Kingdom Hearts games.
Yeah, Darkseid is Kingdom Hearts. Darkseid is the Fire Emblem. Darkseid is just, I can't.
Darkseid is like everything that the DC universe needs to embrace, because he's so melodramatic and so weird and out there that, like, it doesn't make any sense unless you crank that dial all the way, like, actually all the way up to 11, because, like, his goal is to, like, he wants to get anti-life, which will just let him kill everyone, that because he can't already do that for some reason, and he's just like
Meaningless.
just this big unbreakable evil for the sake of evil villain, and it's great when it's done right. I'm sure DC and Warner Brothers would find a way to screw it up in a movie though. So, but go on, Matt.
Yeah, okay. So Darkseid. Also, I have one more reference that I want to make. I don't know if when this episode comes out, if Shaggy will still be the most popular meme, but goddamn, I hope he is, because Darkseid is the equivalent to like 93% of Shaggy's power.
Why is that meme a thing?
I don't know, but it's hilarious. I love it.
Is this like BDE? Will it go away eventually?
Anyway, so Darkseid is Darkseid. Big Barda is like Darkseid's Okoye, and then one day she's like, fucking him out for reasons, and decides to go do her own thing and enforce justice with the Justice League sometimes, but also sometimes fight the
Oh,
Justice
so she's
League.
Gamora.
Yeah, kinda, but like a little bit less team oriented and a little bit more like I am also a god. She's kind of Thor-ish a little bit. I don't know. Anyway, she's big and hits people, and so Ronda Rousey, I guess, because MMA was great for her until it wasn't, and then everybody knows the most successful WWE superstars are the ones that actually do movies, a la The Rock and John Cena. So yeah,
Dave
Ronda,
Batista
and Dave
Come on,
Batista,
man.
yeah, great example. Ronda Rousey, Big Barda, 2023.
Does anyone got anything to say before we move on to Todd?
I'm not really sure what this movie is outside of just Ronda Rousey saying she's Big Barda, but
I think
Sure.
Ronda Rousey is going to be a terrible actress, but I'm excited for your movie nonetheless.
Honestly, like, she's not the worst as far as
Really?
WWE superstars go.
it's kind of a low bar, though.
Okay,
no?
It's an incredibly low bar. It is an incredibly low bar. But so, like, they took Ronda Rousey, slapped her in WWE, and were like, you are canonically the daughter of Roddy Piper now. And
I've permanently blocked out any WWE lore after 5th grade.
I think
I'm
a
out.
good. She's about as good as The Rock was in Scorpion King. If that.
It's high praise.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have much lines, so there you go.
yeah, I
um,
would say like 6.9 out of 10.
Okay, well,
Not
you're
quite a
definitely
7.
selling me already.
Yeah.
This definitely warrants $15. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, every other DC movie's been like a 4.5 out of 10, so 6.9 is an improvement.
Let's put it
Fair.
like this. I don't think Nicolas Cage is a good actor. There, I said it. But I went to see how many of those National Treasure movies. I kept going back.
Yeah, you
I'm,
did.
So-
I'm really disappointed none of you cast Nick Cage as Superman. But
Well-
that's a conversation for a later day.
We haven't gotten to the super secret yet.
There you go.
So I'll tell you what I'm bringing to the table. So I, for preparation for this, I did a lot of research into the Green Lantern universe. That's probably like one of my favorite aspects of DC, and so I chose a lantern from there. So I am casting Sonequa Martin Green, otherwise known as Sasha from The Walking Dead. We're pulling a lot from Walking
Oh,
Dead
she's from
today.
The Walking Dead, huh?
Yeah, from The Walking Dead.
Cool. Nice.
As Saronic Natu. So she was a neurosurgeon who became a Green Lantern. But in the overall story, I'm going to say things that you might recognize, Andrew. So she is the daughter of Sinestro. Does that
I know that
name
name.
sound? Yeah, that's
know that
he's a bad guy.
Yeah. Does he have a
so-
mustache?
He might. He's got like a Jafar thing going on.
He's got a very stereotypical evil person, like
Yeah,
pointy
yeah, yeah,
mustache and
if
goatee.
you see him and you don't know that he ultimately breaks bad and creates a Sinestro core, you think the whole time, why is anyone trusting him?
Yeah.
His facial hair gives me pause to believe that he would ever be a good guy.
Mark Strong's portrayal of him was the best part of the Green Lantern.
Oh
movie.
yeah.
But
Well,
Anyway, sorry, keep-
so
continue.
yeah. Anyway, so
we digress.
Yeah, so Saronic, she was a neurosurgeon who ultimately joined the Green Lantern Corps. Later on, found out that her father is Sinestro. Her mother is something Sur, which ends up being, that means her uncle is Abin Sur, the guy who gave his ring to Hal Jordan. So she's got like deep Green Lantern ties. And my point is her overall story is just really, really good. She's a total badass. I think that it would be a missed opportunity, you know, if they ultimately get a Green Lantern universe going, that she would be a great story that helps add some oomph to the background. Sasha, Sonequa is a fantastic actress in The Walking Dead, and I think that she could end up bringing power to a multi-layered character with a weird past. And the coolest part is that later on, when she ends up finding out that Sinestro is her dad, she too ultimately ends up breaking bad, and I believe she is currently the leader of the Sinestro Corps. So just an overall really, really cool, powerful woman in the Lantern universe, which, in doing research for famous lanterns that are women, there is a deep roster of not incredibly overly sexualized women in the Lantern universe, including Barbara Gordon. She becomes a Green Lantern.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah, she becomes a Green Lantern in the comic panel I was looking at, in this like really neat moment where she's no longer like obviously in a wheelchair. Like she's talking about how she's like, you know, full of power and all this stuff. So neat.
That is kind of neat. You know, we've been shitting a lot on DC, and we're going to continue shitting on DC. But I
That's
think
what
it
we
is
came here to do
interesting.
today.
Green Lantern is one of, like, save for the X-Men, like that is one of the universes that you really could, like, you could do a whole like self-contained like series, like a serial or a movie series, just with that stuff alone.
And I think the Green Lantern, or the Lanterns in general, but the Green Lantern Corps is the one aspect of DC that they do better than Marvel tries to do.
Yeah.
Because Marvel has the Nova Corps, which I think Nova's super cool, and he'll be there eventually. You know, they've got Captain Marvel, who kind of plays in a similar realm a little bit. But the reality is the Nova Corps, I do not believe, holds a candle to the Green Lantern Corps and the lore that ties in there. It's just really unfortunate that they did not stick the landing.
The Lantern Corps, like the lore behind like the 7 different lanterns is like almost as deep as the rest of the DC lore. Like it's insane.
It's so cool when you, I mean, obviously it's built and it's developed, but one of the very first things that happened was when you find out all the different like colors mean different things. The one that's like jealousy and greed. Initially, there's only like one.
Yeah.
There's one. There's one orange lantern, and I mean I don't know if there's still just one. If one dies and a new one happens or whatever. But like the whole thing is like all the jealousy and greed. There's just one of them.
Yeah, there's one orange lantern ring, and the whole point is you have to want it more than the person who currently holds it.
That's kind of neat.
Which, while we're talking about strong women, sorry, one more thing. There is an entire color of the Green Lantern Corps that is just women, like the Star Sapphires, which is pretty sweet.
I learned a lot about that through some of the lore that I read and tried to understand. And what I gleaned was that the Star Sapphires exist. So thanks for confirming that.
We have talked far too long about this. So Andrew, bring us home. Who are you making a movie of, and who are you casting to play in our big summer blockbuster?
I went through 3 different treatments, realizing that the first 2 already either exist or have been announced, which was a huge bummer. So
boy, I feel that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like, just to echo what Todd said, like there aren't a wide variety of interesting female superheroes that aren't, this hero with boobs, which is unfortunate. So we're gonna talk about Doctor Strange with boobs, which is Zatanna Zatara, which again, character that I did not know existed 10 hours ago.
This image that I'm sure pops up for everyone when you search this name, the very first one, is the most ridiculous thing
and
I've seen.
For those of you playing along at home, I mean, it's basically like, let's put her in fishnet stockings and like underwear outside of the of said stockings, and then give her just like a top hat. With
that's been her costume since her conception in 1964. Like it's
she is a Vegas special assistant for a magician,
right? And like I think there's a way that you can do that without making it incredibly that gross, So.
Don't go to the image results. Don't go to all image results. Don't go to fan art.
I did earlier, and I really wish I hadn't. So I think
this is my work computer.
Same.
Not anymore.
It was.
Nope. I am on a list. So I think we're just gonna trash everything and keep the top hat. We're starting. Everything else is a clean slate under the top hat.
Top hat and the tails, but yeah.
So all right. So I'm gonna cast Natalie Emanuel, and apologies if I'm pronouncing this incorrectly. That's Missandei from Game of Thrones. She's the handmaiden to Emilia Clarke to Daenerys. Yeah.
Except for your first your surprise casting of Timothy Olyphant. This is a casting of yours I really actually like. I think that's a good casting.
Yeah, thanks.
What Kyle's saying is all your other choices were bad.
Yeah,
it's true.
We all had to get one. So I think this could be as I read through the character, I mean, there's not a whole lot here. I'll give you the high points. I mean, one, so her power is vaguely illusions. She was like a street magician turned pro, but like she found that she could actually do magic. So I like that idea. I mean, it's literally being done right now better on the Adventure Zone, which is like Travis's character on the Adventure Zone.
Yeah.
Which is but it's that, right? So it's like, picture like the situation where we open the movie, she's like a struggling magician, she's playing in like shitty bars, and she's getting by on like money from kids' birthday parties. Something goes wrong, and she a fireball explodes from her hand, and people are like, whoa, that was crazy. And fast forward, we do a montage, fast forward 6 months later, she's playing sold out nightclubs in Vegas and all this stuff. It's very, very glitzy, high glamour. So a couple of the other things that I saw, again, not a whole lot of depth for Zatanna.
Go figure.
Yeah, right. At one point, she teams up with Constantine, which is like pretty badass.
That actually is cool.
Yeah, and they like fight demons and shit, and they help develop the Justice League Dark, which is like again like weird and metal.
Sounds like an N64 game.
Right? It sounds like a fan fiction that I made when I was 14.
Whatever it is, it's definitely something they tried in the late 80s,
Yeah.
early 90s to be edgy.
Uh-huh.
True
It's
story.
edgy. It's edgy. And I mean, I won't bore you with the details, but a couple of other members was like Man Bat, which like
Not
we got
keep
any,
going.
we got any
I'm
big
done.
we got any big Man Bat fans in the house?
No one?
No, we definitely don't.
Y'all want to know who Man Bat is? I'll give you two guesses. He's a man and he's a bat.
Door opens. Hey, you all talking about Man Bat in here?
What y'all motherfuckers know about Man Bat? Yeah. fucking Man Bat came to party. So there's that. So the main one of the main villains that Zatanna is squared off against is the Enchantress. So I think we could we've got Zatanna, we've got Constantine shows up to they meet up. We got Constantine played by Adam Driver.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh, see, I was gonna say I'm only on board if you get
You were gonna say Jacob Anderson,
you get
weren't you?
Keanu
Keanu
Reeves
Reeves.
back to play
Well,
Constantine.
Well, here's the twist, guys. Ready? Here's the twist. This is the we dovetail into the Constantine trilogy.
Oh,
So this is our prequel. So Adam Driver is playing a young Constantine.
I don't want to do this anymore.
How does the trilogy fit into the Shondaverse? That's what I'm still trying to figure out.
So we've got Zatanna, we've got Constantine. They're up against the Enchantress. Zatanna v the Enchantress, and this very colorful, visually stunning magic battle, and they're both blasting fireballs at each other, etc. And she melts the Enchantress or whatever. And our post-credit scene is then Zatanna and Constantine starting the Justice League Dark, and Man Bat's there
with Man Bat.
with Man Bat.
That's the title. That's the title of the third one. It's Justice League Dark
And
and
Man
Man Bat's there.
I like to think that Zatanna and Constantine are sitting down making some serious decisions, and Man Bat pokes his head. He's like, "Hey, y'all doing Justice Dark things?" And they're like, "No, nah, man."
Man Bat's flying around in the
Yeah,
background,
It's
kind of comes into frame, screeches and is gone.
His
And,
feet
a
show
little
up
more
like a boom mic, just
Yeah.
periodically you just see them.
Yeah, everyone's hair is always a mess.
All right. So it is time for our super secret bonus question. And we're gonna cast one more movie, guys. It's one I want to hear. Kinda what's the movie you've always wanted to see? We've got the Joaquin Phoenix led Joker coming out soon, and it's creating a lot of buzz as this smaller story, a more character driven, it's the origin story of the Joker. There's no superpowers involved, but it's this comic book larger than life character still. So I just want to hear what character you want to see brought to the big screen and who you want to play him, but really focus on the character and the story. Matt, who
So,
you got?
if we're being real honest here, the DC movie that I have always wanted happened, and it was the Suicide Squad, and it tanked.
Oh, sorry, bud.
Yeah, it was hard. It was really awful.
Cue sad trombone.
But I think that there was a lot of potential with the Suicide Squad. It was just a mess, just a garbagey mess. And I think that one of the biggest pieces of that garbagey mess was, why does anybody care who the Enchantress is? And why does the Enchantress suddenly screw everything up? And why does the Enchantress have unlimited power that only Will Smith can stop? So what I want more than anything is a standalone Enchantress origin story, because the origin story of the Enchantress is actually really pretty cool. June Moon, which is a goofy superhero name, but June Moon is the original person who is inhabited by the spirit of the Enchantress, because the Enchantress is just this entity, so to speak. And June Moon is exploring. In the original case, it was an old castle. In 2018, we're gonna make it 2019, we're gonna make it a sewer. And she's gonna come across this locked sewer gate, and she's gonna go in, and then all of a sudden she's gonna get possessed and have to fight an evil demon thing. and the Enchantress power is going to come out, and that's going to be the first, 5 minutes of the movie. And everybody's going to be like, yo, whoa, what the hell was that? And then we're going to spend pretty much the rest of the movie watching June Moon sort of Eddie Brock her way into the Enchantress until at the very end of the movie, we see the Enchantress take over and become the supervillain of the Enchantress. Now, as far as casting goes, I thought Cara Delevingne did a great job. I don't think that we need to change anything. I think that she was handed a shitty deck of cards with the Suicide Squad movie. So I'm going to give her a second go.
So was everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Except for Will Smith. Will Smith's writing was okay as far as that movie goes. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was a hell of a lot better than Margot Robbie's.
So fun fact, Will Smith brings his own writer on to every movie. Every project he gets signed on.
Is that a real thing?
He has his own writer that comes in and makes sure all his lines are sound like Will Smith.
I mean, it works.
Isn't the other trivia piece the one that everyone spouts is he did that movie instead of Men in Black 3?
Independence Day.
Instead of
Independence Day. Thank you.
Yep.
That was it. Independence Day 2, which was not very good either.
So that's my treatment. I think that Suicide Squad is a savable concept, but we gotta rebuild the whole damn thing. I feel like they wanted Suicide Squad in a way to be their Avengers because Justice League just wasn't picking up. And so they were like, let's skip all the origin stories that Marvel spent 4 years building, and let's just hit them with the group shot day one. And I think that was the problem.
I like your approach to just cutting to the chase, because I think the world, if the world doesn't have enough heroes already, the world definitely has enough origin stories of heroes already.
Yeah, exactly.
I forget who said it, but there's someone who said if I do not need to see Thomas and Martha Wayne die.
No,
man.
No.
Same with Uncle Ben. I don't need to see Uncle Ben die ever again.
All right. Todd, what do you got?
Yeah, so I've been inspired by two things that I've heard today, and I've been feverishly opening up Wikipedia pages. This is going to get great. Two things have inspired me. So one, specifically how much Andrew talked about how much he loved Doctor Strange, and two,
I didn't say I loved it. I liked it.
Oh, I chose to hear something different then. And two, how much Matt just said he loves origin movies. And so I'm ready to bring you
I hate this already.
The DC version of Doctor Strange's origin story, and that is going to be the one, the only Dr. Fate.
Oh,
and so,
that doesn't exist. There's no way that actually exists.
So if you just want to Google Dr. Fate, that's just gonna help you out right now.
That is the Dr. Thunder of the DC universe.
It is. Dr. Fate is the Dr. Thunder of the DC universe. An incredible burn to your palate, and it leaves you unsatisfied in the end. And so
you stuck the landing, and I respect that.
Here's what it is. And so, for those of you who don't know Dr. Fate, he is Kent is his name, Kent Nelson. And so,
for those of you, including Todd, who do not know who Dr. Fate is,
and so this is going to be the story of how Kent Nelson came to power and got his abilities and met his antagonist that he deals with. So when Kent was 12 years old, he was accompanied by his father doing archaeology things. His dad Sven was an archaeologist, and so of course Kent probably always wanted to grow up to be an archaeologist, and they were doing a dig. And then, as you do a little diggy do. And so they unearthed,
stumble upon some ancient ruins.
As you do, they unearthed a coffin containing the imprisoned Lord of Order, Naboo. And when they unearthed him, poisonous gas released and killed his dad, but not him. And then the Lord Naboo took him under his wing and instantly aged him into adulthood, and then taught him all the mystic arts. And then he said, as any sensei would, for your last challenge, you must destroy me. And then he turned into magical artifacts that give him his power. And I think that's a good movie. And so what's going to make this movie better is that Kent, a.k.a. Dr. Fate, is ultimately going to meet one of his arch nemesis people, Dr. Chaos, whose name is Burt Belker. Kent and Burt are the first names of these two people. And so I'm not going to bore you with any more details of this story, but what I want to argue with before I tell you who is playing what is that Doctor Strange, I don't think was a good movie, but Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange was a great addition to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And that's what we're doing here, because I don't think that the story of Dr. Fate, aka Kent Nelson, is a good story. But remember how I said he always wanted to grow up to be an archaeologist? Well, in my story, Dr. Fate is played by David Schwimmer, known archaeologist from the series Friends.
Oh my god.
And if you're not done yet, I don't know bullshit about Burt Belker, aka Dr. Chaos, but I'm gonna throw a Hail Mary. He is gonna be played by Creed Bratton of The Office.
God.
Because that's what everyone gets. You're welcome, and I'm sorry. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
There's no way this movie isn't 10 minutes of two old men sitting in a sauna. It's like, hey Bert, like how's your new medication coming along? Oh, I still got those chest pains. Mitch, or whatever the hell the other guy's name was.
Bert and Kent. Because
Sure.
those are the
whatever.
names of the most powerful mystic beings in the DC universe.
They definitely are both on a beer league softball team. I mean, who cares?
Oh man. Well, Andrew, just wash this taste out of my mouth and give me your treatment.
So I've made it pretty clear that I'm not an expert in the DC, but one of the shows that
You're
I
kidding.
did watch, yeah, right. But one of the shows I did watch was Teen Titans. I love that show, the OG Teen Titans. Specifically, Raven was such a good character. She was kind of always like the Jim Halpert of Teen Titans. The like, wait, can you believe this guy? Like that kind of thing. But like in a ironic goth teen.
The straight man.
Yeah, the
is
straight man. more or
the
less.
term you're looking for.
Yep. So I know, and the reason I didn't do this in the last question is there is another execution of Raven, albeit awful, which is the live action show Titans, which exists, I guess.
I don't know if
It's out. It's out there.
I really don't know where we stand on that. Like, did it happen? Did it not happen? Is it available?
Is that the thing you made me watch earlier?
There are episodes posted on the DC Universe thing. Like I think it came out like a couple months ago.
Okay.
So let's just pretend that doesn't, because I think that's better for all of us. So I'm thinking not a full Teen Titans movie, but a Raven movie, and we can maybe incorporate some of the other Titans in there, and like maybe there's a lead up to a Teen Titans, but really like I think she's got one of the more compelling characters because we've done Robin to death. Like we all know the Flying Graysons, blah blah blah. Who cares, right?
Yes.
So like Raven has such an awesome like weird backstory. Her father is a demon. Like
Literally
what?
everything about Raven is awesome. Like Raven is the
Yeah,
coolest.
like it's so cool. It's so cool. And even in like the Teen Titans show, she was done really well, but I still think she was a little underplayed because she was like always a little mysterious and like, you know, like you'd had to watch 2 seasons just for her to like open the door to her room or something. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff.
Right.
So I want to get the name might not be recognizable. Brianna Hildebrand, who, if you don't know that name, she was Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Hey, nice. I
in
know
episode
that
2.
name.
All right.
Yeah. I want to get her because I think that's a really good execution of like that, like punky but still really likable, like ironic teen.
Yeah, you know, I'll give that to you. That is probably the best casting of the day right there. I'm not gonna lie.
So I think like we'll have a, you know, kind of like a Spider-Man Homecoming feel, like, you know, in high school or whatever, and she can kind of do the whole like what made the show funny, which is, you know, it doesn't have to be super serious, even though like the material is very serious, and like that's probably a bigger allegory to DC, where it's like you could have serious like content, but not have it feel so serious.
Right.
So she can play up with. She'll eventually team up with Starfire, who's played by Catherine Langford, who was in 13 Reasons Why. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think those are like I think those are really good foils, like both in actresses and characters. Because like Starfire's like the ditzy, like, what is this human? Why is this human crying? Like she doesn't understand anything because she's an alien.
Right.
So I like that kind of like team up approach. Like they'll have like a Thor Ragnarok like buddy cop situation going on. They can go on adventures and all that, and they'll eventually throughout the movie reveal, you know, Raven's past and Starfire's past, because I think she has amnesia or something. I don't know, something JRPG. And then we can do a post credit scene with Beast Boy because I like Beast Boy. So there you go.
All right. That was surprisingly good based on your other answers.
That was a good palate cleanser.
It really was. Yeah.
All right. Let's round this out. Give me your closing statements, which might be weird because we had like 3 weirdly unconnected but connected questions. So just, Matt, close out your argument.
Sure, I'd love to. I think that why you brought us here today was to save the DCCU, which is not going well. And what I learned through my research in trying to save the DCCU is that the biggest problem with the DCCU is not the last two letters. In fact, it is the first two letters. The biggest problem with the DCCU is DC. So my proposal is we scrap it all, sell it to Marvel for like $7.5 billion, buy ourselves a house in Cancun, and call that a life, man. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
All right.
Matt's pulling a straight up Fire Festival.
Yeah, man. Take the money and run, baby. I'm out.
Let's get Ja Rule in here and we'll make it happen.
$7 billion will buy a hell of a house and a lot of coke in Cancun. So you're appealing to this fake movie producer character I'm pretending.
There you
to
go.
be. Todd, what are your closing statements?
Sure. So I want to make it very clear why I think I should be the person you put into the director's chair. Because my very clear vision going forward for the DCCU rests on only a few very specific points. One is we are going to go hard in on making the Green Lanterns and the Lantern Corps themselves way better. And I think my choices for some of those castings, especially like the potential like heel turn and like bloody beatdown of like Dexter to the most like fearsome Red Lantern in the universe, is going to be incredible. That'll be a shocker. 2, I'm going to cast. No, that was point 1. Point 2 of my this is an audio podcast. No one sees you, Kyle. Making obscene gestures on this kid-friendly podcast.
I don't know what you're talking about.
2, we are going to cast, again, like taking some of the greatest hits from specifically The Walking Dead and actually putting, like I said, Sonequa Martin Green as a strong female lead. And then, 3, if nothing else, if you put me in the director's chair, you get Creed Bratton to join the DCCU as the most powerful, I guess, magician on the bad side?
Yeah, Bill.
Burt. Close.
Chuck.
And
Charles.
if you do that, you'll get quotes such as, wait, I had a good one here a second ago. It's gone now, so I can't say it.
Oh,
but
no.
Anyway, the
Here's
point
your whole
is,
argument.
okay, I'll give you a better one. Option 3A. If you put me in the director's chair, you get Dr. Fate, played by David Schwimmer. And do you know that Dr. Fate has different sets of powers? He has powers if he has the helmet on, like immortality, invulnerability, telekinesis, invisibility. But he also, without his helmet, still has abilities listed on his fandom wiki. The number 1 ability he has, archaeology. So
you're hanging your hat on the least popular Friends character playing an unknown magician.
I want to be super clear. I'm hanging my hat on Michael Hall. I'm hanging my head on Michael Hall and Jesse Williams and Creed Bratton. But I'm telling you, kind of like a hostage situation, if you don't choose me, I'm going to give you more David Schwimmer.
So if I've learned anything today, and boy howdy have I learned a lot about DC, I think if I had to summarize what I learned, it's that the way to save the DC universe is to cut the universe entirely. Let's not do it.
I second that.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily mean let's not make any movies, but like we can make media, but like there are the DC universe is so convoluted and makes absolute no sense. And the more you try to like tie these things together, the more it just feels like word vomit. I think back to like the stuff that I really like, which is like Smallville and Teen Titans, and the stuff that's popular now, which is like Arrow and Flash. Like the reason those are good is because those are much more micro versus macro. Like let Avengers be the micro or the macro, like galaxy spanning, all these different groups. Let's dive in and do the little independent stories, like more serials, more like stuff like it doesn't even have to be Teen Titans, but just Raven, or you know what I mean? Like building up to this, like this small kind of generally unseen group of people working out of like the West Coast or like out of a certain area, stuff that's like a little more everyday versus the grand, galaxy scale. And also I promise to not have David Schwimmer in my universe.
We will not call David Schwimmer if
you say that now, but wait until you see him unleash his power of archaeology.
We're gonna make David Schwimmer in the one of the we're gonna make him Guy Gardner because that's not a real person.
All right, so I'm gonna take these ideas to my Debate This executive producers. I'm gonna run it by some Debate This casting directors and see what we can pull up. So while I wait to hear back from them, while my people call their people, give us some good vibes. Matt, kick us off with some good vibes.
Yeah, I mean, I think for three guys arguing about something that we had next to no idea about or cares for, I think we did a great job, team. Go us!
Yeah,
I had no idea you guys had such disdain for the DC.
Honestly, I'm not sure I knew I had
Like
this
continuity.
much disdain for DC.
I didn't either
until I started researching this and was like, this is convoluted horse garbage. How does one even?
As someone who said the word Xehanort 72 times in the span of a day, I think I spent most of my day looking at absolute nonsense.
Okay, so to do some actual good vibes, as far as Superman goes, Idris, however it's pronounced, Idris Elba and Jesse Williams were great pulls for Green Lantern. Those were, well, Idris Elba was very much my first choice, and then when I started
He was a low-hanging
looking
fruit.
at like other options, I was like, how about the guy from Detroit become human? Lo and behold, Todd watches Grey's Anatomy and knows him from that other thing he did. So, bummer for me, I guess. But good pulls on that one. I liked both of those a lot. Todd, I gotta give it to you, man. Armie Hammer for Superman is great. Good for you. That's very good.
It felt right.
Vincent D'Onofrio, probably not so much, but Armie Hammer, very, very good.
It's a direction.
It is a direction. And then Andrew, the Zatanna Zatara pull is great. I didn't know that DC had a female Gambit dressed as a Playboy bunny, but now I do. And that's a piece of information that I'll file away for later, I guess. I don't know if that'll ever come up in Jeopardy, but who knows? But I never watched Game of Thrones. However, after Googling both Zatanna Zatara and Natalie Emmanuel, I think that that's a great pick. So good for you.
Yeah, I'm going to throw out probably some of the similar compliments. I think the internet has been campaigning for Idris Elba to be Jon Stewart for a very, 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 very long time. There's photos of that all over the place. And so that was obviously a really, really great choice. Lenny James, wouldn't have thought of him, but great.
Thanks.
That also a really good, I think his character in The Walking Dead is like the I'm too old for this shit character over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And I think that he would, like, if that's the angle they were going to take with Jon Stewart of like, one more ride, let's get it done, he would be the Jon Stewart that's like, I'm sick of this, let's do it. So I was a big fan of that one. Again, like I watched Solo and I really thought that Alden Ehrenreich, however you pronounce his last name,
It's just Imric.
Heinrich. There's too many R's and E's and N's in there. That's too many. There's actually one N. Anyway, I think he'd be a good Superman. He's got that jaw. Not gonna say anything about Vincent D'Onofrio. That's just not gonna really.
Yeah.
Timothy Oliphant was actually.
Yeah, that's the one that you meant to say. Timothy Oliphant would be great.
That was the hidden gem of that garbage.
Yeah, Zatanna as a character is just offensive.
Yeah,
her
she's
design,
offensive and she's nothing. Like,
and if they gave it that like facelift and like you said, the actress from Game of Thrones, like I think that'd be great.
I will say she's in Young Justice, and they do give her more character than Playboy Bunny magician.
Do they do like a similar kind of retcon with like Jubilee, where she becomes more useful? Is that kind of what we're going for?
Yeah. She's
Sure.
So she shows up as one of the like more experienced heroes that helps
Gotcha.
the new squad out.
I was equating it like Starfire because that's why I like Starfire too. I obviously like the comic book, like the Rob Liefeld, like just boob monster Starfire is awful.
yeah.
Like there's nothing there, but
Right.
when they took a step back and were like, how can we make this actually like a person, then it's very well done.
Yeah.
You know, I know there are different like timelines. They classified years of comics in different timelines of writers and themes. I hope Boob Monster is one that really does come to encompass.
Yep, that's a name that sticks.
I mean, Rob Liefeld, like anything Rob Liefeld has done, it's either like.
Then I assume he did all the art for every like Supergirl, comic ever, because it's just like offensive.
Yeah,
but
I don't
anyway,
actually think
that's
he did DC, but I'm just projecting.
That's-
Anyway,
it's neither here nor there. The bottom line, I thought you both brought some really heavy hits to here, and I really enjoyed the fact that you brought up Raven. Raven is probably one of my favorite. She's definitely my favorite Teen Titan.
oh yeah.
So yeah,
Easy. I think I don't honestly I don't know anyone in my offline or online life that cares about the Green Lantern more than Todd does. So like, if I had the resources, I would right now like just Todd, make us a Green Lantern movie. Like just do it, because I know it would be good. And like, and there's also
Maybe that'll be a sidebar, is me and Todd pitching a Green Lantern cinematic universe, because I also love the Green Lantern.
And you know what, guys, like that's
lore.
great. Go out and do it, because like every time I try so hard to care about the Green Lantern. Like I can't do it. I don't get it. But Todd is so passionate about it, and like it makes me want to care about the Green Lantern. So that's great. I mean, and Matt and I, like, yours was the better version of what I was trying to do, which is like an old grizzled Green Lantern. I mean, I think that's like with the taking kind of like from Logan, like that's a really interesting and not too overused dynamic right now. So that seems to be like with a series so big on choosing successors and having this like elaborate team of people, that would be a really good iteration of that.
Yeah, that's like been one of my biggest complaints about Green Lantern from my experience with him, is that it seems like who becomes the Green Lantern is always really important, and you always see who becomes the Green Lantern in the first 30 seconds, and then you're just expected to care as to why they were chosen. So I'm with you, Andrew. I dig the old guy tagging out for the new kid.
Yeah, Alden Ehrenreich, we'll call it Ehrenreich. That was a good pool. I haven't seen Solo yet, but I've seen what I needed to see.
it's on Netflix.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. And Armie Hammer, both, like we said this before. I mean, there is a very specific box that you can put Superman in, and each of those guys check that box very, very well. Ronda Rousey was definitely a pool.
It was, thanks.
That was a choice.
It was
Ronda
an answer.
Rousey is Matt's Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah, I mean, you did a thing. You went there. I can't be the pot calling the kettle black. I just kept thinking, tell him Large March sent you. And yeah, I mean, again, like Todd, anytime you talk about Green Lantern, I'm down. I'm in.
But like, what's your take on Dr. Fate?
Ross Geller as
Pass.
Dr. Fate.
Next. Can I be done now?
He at some point they're gonna come up to him and be like, Dr. Fate, where were you at this last adventure? You were supposed to be there, and he's gonna just yell, "We were on a break!"
No, I don't want any of it.
Wait, let me think of one that has him yelling pivot. I'll get another
I've
one.
been trying to think of a good pivot joke for Dr. Fate for like 10 minutes.
Let's put Dr. Fate in the debate this trash along with Pace Pot Pete, please.
All right. So I've talked to the board, I've talked to some casting directors, and I think we had a lot of good ideas. We had a lot of ideas. Some of them were good, I guess. So I'm gonna kind of break this down. I'm gonna go point by point, and we'll decide who had the best answer to each question, and pick a winner from there. For as far as Green Lantern movies go, Todd, we're gonna make your Guy Gardner Green Lantern movie. That's the one the studio liked. We're gonna go with it. Michael Hall is
not doing anything.
He's not
nowadays.
doing much. We think we can get him cheap. We think he can bring in a good performance. So we're gonna do the Guy Gardner Green Lantern movie from Todd. Surprisingly, so moving on to Superman, they really liked Andrew, your Timothy Oliphant Superman. they did not like Vincent D'Onofrio, but they liked your little bit in there about Timothy Olyphant playing an older Superman. So they got his people on the line, and they're talking to him now. So
that was the real legislation that we had to hide in page 257 of the bill.
So moving on to our female-led movie. Once again, it's Andrew with Natalie Emmanuel as Zatanna Zatara.
It's a good
just
one.
the up and coming star power. They think that is that's gonna kick the summer off well and be a good competitor to some of those Marvel movies. And as far as our solo character driven whatever you want movie, they really liked David Schwimmer. No, not at all. This one they really want to keep they want to try and reclaim any bit of Suicide Squad that they can. So Matt, they're gonna make your Enchantress movie, but you have to agree to let them put Margot Robbie in the post credits scene to bring that back.
Oh, all right, fine, but
Oh.
we're changing her costume. Jesus Christ.
Nope, it's gonna be hot. It's gonna be a Hot Topic garbage costume.
Here's
It's
the
gonna
other
be
thing.
worse.
Imagine soundtrack. Imagine Dragons is doing the soundtrack.
I'm cool. No, I'm cool with Imagine Dragons if we can change that garbage outfit, please.
We'll see what we can do, but odds are you're gonna like it even less.
She is a doctor, not a trailer park princess. God damn it.
So today's winner is actually Andrew. Not who I thought was gonna pull out this win when
Hey,
we
me
started
neither.
today. But that's where we're at, thanks to his snuck in Timothy Olyphant question. Andrew wins today.
All right. I tripped and fell into the winning slot.
Winning on a technicality is still winning.
That's
It
right.
Sure is.
Take that W.
Thanks everyone for listening to Debate This. Follow along with the argument on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at DebateThisCast. And check out our website at debatethiscast.com. If you like what you hear, please leave us a review so more people can hear our dumb, stupid show. Until next time, I'm Kyle Harper.
I'm Matt. Jim Carrey is the best thing to ever happen to Batman Cole.
Ooh, I'm Todd, big Man Bat fan, Thomas.
And I'm Andrew. Danny DeVito is the best Batman villain. Henderson.
And we're saying thanks for debating with us. If you think we're wrong, you can come fight us behind the swing sets, nerds.